Like in terms of fish meal, soya meal, and flour. Flour prices on the higher side. But generally, I think earnings rating rankings seem to be better placed for monthly themes at this stage.
Okay, all right. Right on cue there, Mayuresh. Stay with us. We're just going to come back to you with more questions in a bit. But let me just quickly wrap out things. So it's a flat close, absolutely flat close on the Nifty, 25 points lower. Nifty Bank is more meaningful, about 300 points lower. That's a 0.5% cut on the Nifty Bank. But mid-cap index 1% and the small-cap index up a little bit more. So that's the overall picture. Market breadth solid, 2,000 stocks higher, 800 stocks, 850 stocks lower. So yeah, I mean, 2.5:1 in terms of advances to decline ratio, and lots and lots of individual movers. Mahindra, of course, in terms of the Nifty, was the standout kind of turnaround name that we've had after 5 days of losing. M&M turned around about 3% higher by close. There was Shriram Finance, NTPC, BEL, Adani Ports, Trent, Hindalco. So you essentially had about 8 names on the Nifty with gains in excess of 2%. On the downside, Maruti was down 2%. There was that Car Industry Association yesterday essentially talking about very poor, at least in terms of expectation, very slow, flattish growth rates for FY26. Tech Mahindra and Tata Consumer were the other Nifty losers, at least. But it's all about individual names in the broader space which were shining. Surabhi.
Absolutely. I mean, from a sectoral standpoint, it's PSUs all the way. And I'll talk about those stocks in just a bit. But financials have really stood out in their underperformance today, whether it's, large banks, mid-sized banks, PSU, private sector, largely private sector, actually. PSU banks relatively better off, which brings me to the PSU charge. Bank of India, 5%, SJVN, 4%, REC, 3.5%, SAIL, NMDC. You get the drift, NALCO, PNB, large volumes and a fair amount of gain on these stocks. But beyond PSUs as well, the market was fairly vibrant today. Look at Piramal Pharma, 9%, Amara Raja, 7%. NetWeb has had a good pullback today, 9% on the higher side. And a couple of stocks from the industrial space, Voltam Transformers, 12%. Azad Engineering, 7.5%. So pretty good. And some of the defense names as well, like MTAR Tech, a much smaller stock, but nonetheless flying about 14 to 15% higher. So the mid-cap recovery continued in a pretty steady fashion. And the bulls will hope they can end the week along similar lines with this recovery continuing to build. Well, that's where we have to take your leave on this edition of Closing Bell. Many thanks for watching, but don't go anywhere because we have Markets Forward coming up next.